Welcome everybody, this is Wargamer Sean. Happy to see you again, making another video right in the same month. Wow. Anyway, I wanted to let you know that I am going to be doing a review on the Codex Adeptus Custodes. Ooh, look at that. Adeptus Custodes. I'm lucky enough I was able to do a review with my friend Kenny, and we recorded it for our podcast, which is Combat Phase, which I'm now part of. I'm excited about. And I'm going to just put the MP3 in here to make a video, and I'll post some pictures of some of the Custodes and some of the other things that are coming up on for Games Workshop. And some of it's coming out this Saturday with the new Codex and dice and cards and stuff like that, which I really like Maelstrom a lot. It's one of my favorite games to play because it's kind of random. You don't know what you're going to get, so you have to kind of think on the move. And so I'm getting the cards and the dice. There's some dice coming out for Custodes, which thankfully they kind of got. The symbol for the Custodes is on the 6, and then the 1 is a skull. I'm just happy the GW is actually putting stuff on the 6 versus the 1. That's what I'm more excited about. But I will, without further ado, put the MP3 down for Combat Phase. I'll also put the link in for Combat Phase. But basically, what I plan to do is, in addition to doing my normal videos, is I'm converting some of these back to MP3 so that I can put them into on the Wargamer Sean page, so you can listen to the podcast. You can either go to the podcast site and download it to listen to it on a mobile device, or you can listen to it here on the YouTube channel, and it'll just be presented in video form, but there'll just be pictures kind of along the way as we're doing the discussion. It's a long one. The podcasts tend to be around an hour, and it's a discussion about what we've been up to, but then also basically the Adeptus Custodes review of the Codex. So I hope you enjoy. We'll see you again soon. I'll try to make another video here soon. I'm trying to go with battle reports that everything is fully painted on both sides. And so I haven't put any new ones up because I'm trying to kind of change how I do the battle reports, and the ones that I have so far, a lot of them have like unpainted models, and I'm trying to kind of get away from that. So the reason why I haven't put as much stuff up as far as battle reports is I'm trying to kind of change my game so it looks nicer, more presentable, more immersive for you guys. So I am going to also do a video soon on showing people how to do pinning. Obviously a lot of people probably know how to do it, but I think a lot of people don't. And I think, it's not that hard. Once you learn how to do it, it really changes your game as far as modeling goes, and converting or fixing like weak spots where you're constantly gluing it because that piece comes off. But if it's big enough to put the pin in, it'll really kind of help make it less likely that's going to break. So that's a video that's coming up. But as for now, enjoy the Adeptus Custodes. I'm going to try to plan on having a review video up. It's kind of a brief one for the Thousand Suns. It's going to go up for pre-order this Saturday. Then I'm going to have it linked, as we did one for our podcast, so it's going to be another podcast one, and that'll put up here on YouTube. So take care, guys, and enjoy. Welcome to Combat Phase. This is Wargamer Sean.
This is Kenny, episode 228.
Kenny, your last name is episode 228.
That's right. It was a really weird form to fill out in the hospital.
What'd your mom say about that?
Well, she wanted to name me Molly, and then somebody pointed out that, no, that's the sex. It's not, it's male.
Oh, Molly, gotcha.
Yeah. So she thought she was being trendy. But it was Southern Virginia at the time.
But they probably thought it was Italian. She is the Italian half of my family.
Because
I think also on your birth certificate it said Fragile.
Yeah, it did. It did. And retarde as well.
It's pronounced retard.
Retard. Hi, everybody. So, we are going to record 2 episodes in one, but you're going to hear one right now.
Marathon.
So, we're not going to have a new section on the next one. So, we are recording the Custodes, the Codex Adeptus Custodes.
I'm so excited
today.
About it.
Yeah, the Codex, the army, and then we're going to be, immediately after this episode is done and going up, we're going to be working on episode 229, which is for the Codex Thousand Suns and the army, and that will go up Friday night, a few hours after the pre-orders stuff going up in New Zealand, and everybody's already seen everything anyway. So then episode 228, you're listening to right now, and then episode 229 will be up Friday night once the New Zealand pre-orders have gone up, and it's been a couple hours. That'll post up because Warhammer Sean and I are going to be gaming Friday night, and then we're going to be having an event on Saturday at Pegasus Games.
Yes.
And then that is going to be pretty much for me the last hurrah of those 2 nights, the last hurrah with the Thousand Suns as
before
they are.
Before the new stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to take that on Saturday, of course, to the event, and I should screw people and be like, all right, so in my book it tells me, just kidding.
Mess with people?
Yeah, because that'd be kind of a
It's kind of a fun event anyway, so I don't think anybody's going to take it too seriously.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not using the new book, but I thought about screwing with my first opponent if they seem like someone who would appreciate the joke and pretend like I have it in there. All right, so let's just jump into our news really quick because we have a lot of content here. So, Forge World-wise, there's not a lot coming out. So they put out the Nazgul from... What is this called here? What are these 3 Nazguls called?
Oh, yeah.
From The Hobbit, the ones that are in...
the new Hobbit movie. Dol-Guldur.
Yes, that one. That's there. And a lot of the posts in the Warhammer community have been about the Custodes and now the Thousand Suns, so we're not really going to read about those because you're going to hear about them.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Black Library, so Age of Sigmar, we had Evan Dickin, a brand new author for Black Library.
Yeah, it's exciting.
His first his story went up. It's a little bit longer of a short on Monday for AOS, and it's actually set at a really cool time period before the one we're in now. So I've contacted him about coming on the show, and so we'll hopefully have him on soon. So there's some...
Did you want to talk about the spoiler that they released, Warhammer, the video, the audio spoiler that they did?
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
Let me just do the Black Library stuff. So the Primarch series, Book 6, so they have the Ferrous Menace, the one I've been waiting for a long time. David Geimer has just talked about it briefly. He'll be back on the show to talk about it.
When is that coming out?
A little bit more. So you can order it now as the special edition, the $65 US. Yeah. And it's, of course, they're very beautiful books.
They are.
And then it'll be out wide, so it should be out. It's usually like 2 months after the special edition now, so we should be able to see it in March, sometime in March, end of March, beginning of April.
I know I pre-ordered it, like the regular edition on Amazon. You could pre-order like the Primarch books.
Oh yeah,
and I did that, so I don't have the special edition coming. I did get the special edition of Magnus because I love fucking Magnus, but I didn't get special edition to anybody else. But
yeah, I think I go for the Mortarion one, but I think I go for the Ferris one as well. I think last week we talked about the Shadespire. The site was already up last week when we did our news for the card deck library. So let's go over that one.
What's that about?
It's really cool. So if you go to the link, so you just go to Warhammer-Community or Shadespire.com or whatever one you want to go to. There's an option for this card deck, and it shows you all the cards, so they're there. I mean, still, you want to play with your physical cards, right? You can't just like say, okay, here they are up online. I'm somehow not going to buy the cards because when you buy the box, you get the cards anyway. So there's really no way to screw the system on this one. But they're all up there, so you can look at them, you can reference them, and you can know what they are as you're going into. And then there's also a few little tricks about deck building, so that's pretty awesome as well. And then
I will say this, and I love Shadespire, and I'm glad that they're doing so much to support it. My one beef is I wish they were doing more to support Necromunda. I'm on a Necromunda page, and I've had a lot of complaints about Necromunda support.
In February, it's so this is the first time the Horus Heresy Weekender has been combined with something else. So it's the Horus Heresy Weekender and Necromunda.
Yeah, that's true.
Combined. So I'm sure we'll hear more about that as that goes on.
Are they releasing the Orlocks at the same time, or?
I would imagine, yeah. I thought they'd be available around that time. But... So I'm thinking that we'll actually already have them, and the ones that they previewed, the 3 mercenaries that they showed the open day, the guys that are like the Beastmen, will be available more, but we don't know. It's just speculation. And then before we mention the AOS thing, also when I'm thinking about it, Warhammer Twitch, I've started to go back through the catalog. I had pointed out to them that the event 2 weeks ago, the Grand Tournament Heat 1 for AOS, as awesome as that was, and they put it up there, it was not in their video library. So somebody wrote back to me, not saying that this is because of me, but I'll take credit anyway.
So
but they are there, yeah, because I went back, I started to watch some of them. I started to watch Game 1, and it's dispossessed, actually. It's pretty awesome. So
thank Kenny.
Yeah, thank me very much for that.
It's definitely Kenny.
Yeah, they recorded a little bit this week, and then Eddie's going to give us some by the time this goes up, it won't matter anyway. So, but there's Thousand Suns faction posts that are going up, and Eddie has an amazingly painted army. Eddie from the community team, and right now, majority of them are at Las Vegas for the LVO.
LVO, yeah.
Unfortunately, any news coming in that we're not going to get because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So, unfortunately, there's only so much we can get from that. But
well,
yeah, this weekend. So you can watch it on Twitch.
Yeah, and both Duncan and
Peachy, right?
Peachy went. So whatever happens in Vegas, fellas.
That's right. I always see him crying in the corner. Too thin coats, like rocking in the shower, like stealing.
I'm dirty.
Also, just
now we just made a conspiracy theory about Peachy and Duncan.
I'll throw out another message here too. So they actually put out on the Warhammer community post this week. They put up Las Vegas Open 2018 Warhammer Live. But what's cool about this article, other than explaining why the schedule is the way it is, and they're going to be doing the games this weekend, is they very clearly walk you through, no matter where you live in the world, if this is applicable to you, they walk you through the process with screenshots of how to get an Amazon, if you have Amazon Prime, how to get your free Twitch subscription. So you can use that for for Warhammer. So
you can get free Twitch with that?
Yeah. So like right now, my fear is that I've been paying for it. So it says I'm approaching my 14th month subscription, which is actually not true. It's actually a 15, but I did it for a while with I was watching through with an Amazon one, and so I'm afraid that because like once you get to a year, you get like access to cooler emojis that they give you, like beyond just the Duncan head and some of the ones for the factions. So I'm afraid that if I stop my subscription through Twitch and I switch it over to Amazon Prime, which I do have now, that it may drop. So I have to find out more about that, but in the meantime, so know about this. But actually in that post, they give you screenshots. I mean, it's actually really nice. So they say it sometimes on the stream. If you watch, of course, it's much more, I think, convenient for us in North America to watch this weekend, because usually events are in the UK. And we have to get up like 3 a.m. to watch them sometimes. It's going to be in the U.S., so it'll be the people in Europe that are up late. But if you can always watch live for free, but you just can't get into the chat unless you're a subscriber. So if you don't want to pay the $4.99 or $4.95 or whatever it is I pay for Twitch, if you have Amazon Prime, which so many people do, you can do this. And also Amazon Prime, what I'm doing now, it's actually funny because a lot of customers at a place I work come in with these nice black Visa cards that are Amazon Prime cards. And I really want to get one because it just adds more bonuses. And if you buy stuff on Amazon Prime, like you get like double the bonuses or something to it. So Amazon Prime now, like it used to be that you had to pay $75 to $80, whatever it was. And it kind of went up a little bit up front for the year. Now you pay in the U.S. it's $11.10, I think, monthly is the final cost. And that way you can watch your shows like what's it called now? The Grand Tour, which is awesome, which used to be Top Gear. Awesome show. Man in the High Castle season 3 is coming, so that's good too. So shows like that. Anyway, Amazon Prime, you can do that.
Nice ad for Amazon Prime.
Right,
I'm sure they're thanking you for that.
I'm sure they will. Yeah, they'll pay me in nothing. So also, we have a lot of author interviews. I want to just mention that we're going to be continuing our plan to do multiple shorter interviews. Trying to work it out actually where Sean, because we're here in person recording together and we have a very similar work schedule. So we're going to see if we can't, and we'd also be sharing one mic. So it'd be, the more people we have on a Skype call, the weaker it gets. So if we could, we might be able to start having us both
that'd be
interview authors, which would be great. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I would love that.
So 40k, we know what's going on with that. That's in the reviews. You mentioned AOS,
yes.
So we know the Legions of Nagash is coming up, right?
Yeah.
So on Twitch, Phil Kelly was on a week ago, I think, talking about my importance. You should go check it out in the back catalog because it's a really good lore. People, of course, are teasing and trying to get questions about like Tomb Kings and everything out there, and it's fun to kind of watch the people, like when they did the famous Custodes Thousand Sons game, which they weren't answering stuff for Thousand Sons. Everyone was trying to get spoilers, and it was kind of fun to watch. I think it was kind of tongue in cheek too because the presenters were trying to dodge it, but they were aware that people were trying to trick them. It was kind of amusing. But Legions of Nagash is coming up, and people are painting. And by the beginning of February, if you are doing this in a store or a Warhammer store or a Games Workshop store or an FLGS, they're doing the whole painting contest, and they're getting you built up. They have more short stories coming out. Actually, it turns out the current issue of White Dwarf that has the Nurgle issue Magickin has not only an interview with Dan Abnett, but it also has 1 or 2 of those short stories printed, and there's been more that's out too, right? Yeah. So you can go check them out there. But the site's getting cooler. But I remember I ran into your office and I showed you something. And,
I was pretty excited about it too.
So we kind of deconstructed it because there's like
that was after we went ourselves.
Well, why don't you say what it is, and then I'll catch it if you miss something.
Oh yeah,
because you right because you didn't play fantasy really.
No, I didn't, and so I'm coming at it from the aspect from 40k, and I came into an Age of Sigmar, and I was pretty excited because now what's her name? Because I'm going to say Maury Haig, which is Morathi. It's kind of like Maury Haig in the 40k universe because she was an elf, kind of like in the Eldar pantheon, that got consumed by She Who Thirsts.
Yeah, they took her model. I was telling you, this is the last model that has both bare breasts. It's a metal model painted, but I guess they took it off the site recently, which makes sense if they're doing this because they're already, as people know on the internet, right? When they have a new army coming out, people go to the store and they look on the web store and how things are reorganized and to the side. And this model is gone, but already the things that are in Custodes and Thousand Sons already been moved around. So we didn't see them. Not everything, no.
But yeah, it was pretty exciting because basically she's pretty pissed and she wants to kind of get her place, but she knows she's working for the man, the Dark Prince now. So like she does a really good job. Whoever the voice actress was did a really good job.
I wanted to mention the quality's been going up in the videos, but instead of it being John Banks or Toby Longworth or Jonathan Keeble, which are all great. They grabbed an actress. And the way that, if you listen back to our episode where we talked to Matt Renshaw and John Banks about how these things are made, we discuss when you get an actor or an actress in the studio, you have to have you almost have a year-long list of your products coming out. So you record everything that day. So because there's equity, like they have, so it makes sense, right? You're going to have somebody come in, you're going to have them do all the things they want to do rather than bring them up to Nottingham again. Yeah, I mean, she was awesome.
I mean, she did. I mean, good job, GW, and whoever directed it, and good job to the actress because
I hope she's back.
I believed her. Like, she seemed really genuinely pissed off at the end of that shit. I'm like, wow, like she's angry.
So this is this might be one of the malign portents. There's a shout out to Warhammer Weekly. Vince has been on the show many times. This co-host Tom is actually going to be filling in for you as my partner at Adepticon. See how I twist the knife there?
I know.
In the team tournament
Super
for AOS. So they talk about that. They talked their last show the week before last was about malign portent speculation, and it's classic with Warhammer. They record on Wednesdays, and it's very classic because when he's been on our show too, we make predictions and speculations, and the very next day, which is usually less than 10 hours away, we're proven either right or wrong, usually pretty wrong. So, yeah, you can go check that out. But if you look at that video, it's like I think the whole video's, I think maybe 63 seconds.
Yeah, it's not long.
But if you slow it down, right, so it's very clear that they have Slaanesh. Like, we're talking about Slaanesh coming up, and I'm starting Slaanesh Army.
I mean, she says Dark Prince, so.
She does, yeah. But what I didn't catch afterwards, because they do this really neat kind of cave painting sort of mix of that and the Egyptian kind of theme. But when you do the screenshots, which I didn't notice this so much before because I was looking at my iPhone.
Does it say something
Well, you
subliminal?
see the demonettes. Well, there's demonettes and seekers that are actually on those paintings. Like, it moves from, like, elves, or, whatever you want to call them, into demonettes, and so on the top line of it are demonettes and their seekers below them. And I didn't really catch that at the beginning.
I did notice that actually as we were painting through.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Visually, I was watching those paintings. I thought it was good. Yeah,
it was awesome, man. You're learning how to multitask too.
And I was proud of myself.
You amaze me. You can multitask like in your daily life or in your career, doing a trillion things at once, but you are working on being able to absorb a story or audio content while you paint, which is good.
Yeah, I'm working on that because that is hard. That's difficult for me.
I have to have something I'm better than you.
It is true. Like, I have trouble listening to audiobooks while I paint, but I'm getting better. I'm listening to Praetorian Dorn. I'm not through it yet, but I'm proud of myself because I am painting and not just listening to the story, but I'm trying to absorb the story. So.
Oh, that's the one where Elmo kills Dorn. That's right.
Yeah.
It took a weird turn at the end of that book. Anyway, really good book.
Also, Elmo took off his
Elmo knows where you live.
Well, I mean, he took off his leather panties in front of Dorn. That was pretty.
It's just
that's. See, it's still going.
All right, there we go.
Computer just had a brain fart.
Let's see. And Audible as well. I should mention this too, since more stuff is on Audible for Black Library, which is amazing. We were trying to think kind of at first like how they were doing this, and would items come out, and then would it be so long before they're put onto Audible as well? Turns out there's not so much a rhyme or reason. War Master was up on Audible, I think like a week after it was released. So, I mean, I used my most recent credit to get that, and I decided to listen to, because I've only still on book one, sorry, of Gonsko series. I know I'm ashamed to admit that, but I'm going to go back and listen to the only other audiobook that there is for that is Salvation's Reach, which is the one before War Master. So I'm going to listen to that.
Oh, they only have those two?
Yeah, so I'm going to...
Because I only have the books. I don't
well, the guy that did Salvation's Reach is extremely Scottish, but you know what? Actually, I like his I like his narration. The first time, because it was such a different narrator, I think it was tough for me because it was one of my many 2,000-mile round trips I did in the car. But then I listened to it again several months ago on another 2,000-mile round trip, and I really enjoyed the hell out of it. So that's pretty awesome. So anyway, don't forget to check out Audible. Also, the Black Library audio app. There are times, now, if this is a mistake, sorry, but I noticed at the beginning that sometimes they would put books out that were... so the issue, I used to have this big issue with the audiobooks, and I would buy them anyway, but paying, it used to be $50 for an audiobook, and as we all know, GW across all its arms, even Forge World with the bundles, are lowering their prices a little bit as they go through, and they had moved some of the... Not that they're going to... So they don't change old prices, right? They just do a bundle or repackage or something without actually changing the old one. But the audio app was really nice because it was moving some of the price levels down. And so you could get things that were $49.99 US on the Black Library site, and then you could get them on the audio app for, say, like $30.99 is the usual one. And then things that are like the Primarch series and the Beast Arises that are comparable that go down, they shifted that. And the AOS books too, you know, ones that are maybe 60,000 words instead of 100 or 110,000 were shifted down to the next tier of pricing. Some of the books, like I think Dante briefly, and it's not anymore, but was like $10 or $12 cheaper. I did buy Fulgrim when it came out, and I did check my receipts because this happened a few times, and I did get charged what it said. But Fulgrim as the audiobook, not the Heresy book, but the one that came out this month from Josh Reynolds. Popped up on mine the day it came out. It popped up as $9.99, and it's supposed to be $19.99.
Right.
And then so I bought it, and then I think like the next day they moved it back up to the right price. But then I mean Josh still gets the same cut, but I checked and I even watched my receipt to make sure that and that's what I got charged. So
that's cool.
Just say the Black Library audio app is free. It's great for when they have the advents and the shorts that come out. And you can we talk about you can buy these through iTunes. So if you get iTunes cards as gifts or blackmail sacrifices, if you use them to cut up your powdered cocaine, whatever it is you want to use them for, those gift cards you can use them as well for this.
Yeah, I did notice that app that's for the books, not the audio. You're right; it's not being. You can still get the app, but don't use it because I did buy some things on there, and it's not supported, which really kind of ticked me off.
He told me he had a Black Library app, and I'm like, I remember there was one because I downloaded it in 2012 when I was getting back into the I just got back into the hobby, and I was getting back in through Black Library, and I would sit there sometimes when I was like losing interest in the LARPs, and I would buy books right there during some of the games and then start reading them on the app, and it was great. But then they stopped using it. Black Library gave me the credit for all the books I bought and moved them over to PDFs on their website, ebooks or EPUBs, whatever they call it. And because remember, I'm like, I need to move my purchases. Like, oh, just tell us what you purchased, and it was like 112 books already. I do own over 450 Black Library titles, combining physical hard copies, ebooks, and audios. I do know that because I did a count recently.
Jesus.
Anyway, I have a problem. Okay, so I think that's what we have for news. AOS Malign Portents, the Marathis, the reveal. Check it out. It's pretty awesome. Speculate away. In the rumor mill as well, we also got to see what looked, I would almost say, looked like a Zangor horn, but I don't think it is because the models that are coming out for the Thousand Suns, we don't have any new Zangors coming out, so that's fine here, but it could tie into some of the elf releases. We should mention, too, that the Custodes Captain Valoris, if you looked at the picture and then the 360 view, I think it was 3 or 4 of the rumor engines were already hit right in that. The Lion Pelt, and they were, I can't remember the other one, but there's like 3 or 4 of those that are in there. So
right.
if you're one of those people that tracks, like when Horticulus came out on the Slug, a lot of people were like, oh, that one. They used to even sometimes, they would draw like a picture and have all the different pictures and they draw on like a chart that were pinned down of each of these rumors and what part of the model it is. Okay, any more news?
I don't think so.
Quick copying games played, yeah. No, I'll go quick because mine's pretty quick. So I played one game. I got to play Heresy. It was my 3rd game of using the Primaris Marines, solely Primaris Army. Sons of Medusa again. they're getting there. They probably need a good solid 12 or 13 hours of work with the basing and the transfers, and I should be able to finish that army up. But I played against a friend of our local group, Art, and I played against I played against his sons, and so it's always cool to see kind of father-son gaming thing. And what is that saying there? Okay. And I ended up winning the game. We did Maelstrom. We did Contact Lost, which is the second mission in the book. And he's actually getting ready. So he's younger, and he's getting ready to go to the team tournament at Adepticon. So he had his Tyranids out. He had the Gorgon. So one of the fun kind of narrative things we were going through is that, I have the Sons of Medusa are an Iron Hand successor chapter, and we take offense to anybody using the term Gorgon. So, a little bit sore about that. And I didn't have the best cards, but I ended up winning the game just by kind of maneuvering some things around. And he was still learning. We're both still learning our armies, so it was a lot of fun.
This is his first time going to Adepticon.
Yeah, so it's it's going to be neat. And I'm telling him, and I also told him, don't listen to your dad when he gives you pressure and everything. Just play right now, learn your army.
I told him the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking. So if Art is listening to this, then
I doubt he is.
I don't think he is. I can say whatever I want. If he is, whoops. Yeah, great painter, man. So yeah, that was a fun game. I've been reading. My reading took a big pause while we went through the Custodes and the Thousand Sons Codex. Both of the codices. But I went back last night to reading Devastation of Baal, and some people are starting to finish it on one of our Facebook groups for Black Library, and don't spoil it. But it's a great book, and I'm enjoying it so far. And I did a shitload of building. So I built the box of the 3 Praetors on bikes for the Custodes, and I built Trajan Valoris, and so I got to see that model and brought it on Saturday to one of the stores and showed people, who then promptly went and ordered the models, or are going to be ordering the bikes on Saturday when they came on. I think the biggest hobby victory that I had was a half of my remodeling kind of being done in the living room. So I went out and I bought a table and a chair, and I have my hobby space set up. And I needed more space, but I got the paint racks and everything is up off the floor and off the kitchen counter and together. And I put a little bit of color on some Thousand Sons last night because I needed my army finished beyond what it was, and I'm adding some chaos spawns for my list on Saturday. So we have our game night on Friday, and then we'll be setting up tables. Then we have our 3-game event on Sunday.
True. So, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, well, let's kick it over to you.
So I guess what I did for hobby, I was working on my AdMech painting, and did that. I also I'm still listening to Praetorian Dorn, and I finished the Fulgrim Primarch book. I was reading that, I think, when we last did the last episode.
Yeah.
I started reading Angel Exterminatus. I started reading that. I think I'm about 200 pages in on that. And apparently I'm on a Graham McNeil kick, because that's... but
awesome.
And then I had a game, actually, the night after we recorded our last session, right after I finished it. We basically played, and it was a campaign game. And I had written a narrative story about my warlord, my person that's kind of running the group. It's a female character, because I want to do more female characters. I'm going to submit it for Black Library as well, but I'm trying to decide what part of it, because I've written 10 pages now, or 11 pages on her so far on the story. But she went to fight the battle, and I'm letting the games basically kind of, the story blends into the campaign, but also what happens in the game affects the characters. And what happened in this game, and I decided very quickly that I was going to be kind of brazen with spending my command points. And she took the Warlord trait, where on a 6-up she gets it back. She didn't get a damn one back. I know. But it was really cool. It was playing Space Wolves, 30k Space Wolves, and he had 4 Contemptors that he was rushing forward. 2 of them were close combat, 2 of them were shooty. I killed 2 of them my first round of shooting. He sees the initiative on me, and then I worked that in the narrative. But the second turn, his Contemptor came up, and I wasn't able to kill all of them, and he rushed at my Onager Dunecrawler, and I backed it up, and I shot him, and I put him down to I think 3 wounds, and I went in with my destroyers. Or no, which one was the claws? Breachers. Went in with a squad of breachers and my warlord, and I'm like, oh, I got this. This is no problem.
What could go wrong?
And, what could go wrong? So I went with my breachers, and he freaking just saved his invulns like a boss. He rolled 3 6s, and I think I did 1 wound to him or something, so it was down to 2. And then he interrupted and he punked Felicia Alto, my warlord. He just slammed into her. I failed all my saves. She just died. And so I'm actually kind of using that as a narrative as she's recovering. She's kind of reliving some of this stuff as she's kind of recovering post-battle. But I'm also... What?
I was thinking, what we should do is when the campaign is over, we should put this up as a file on our page.
Oh.
So people can read the book.
Read the book.
It needs the production value, the layout. It needs some help.
But my book needs help, or
no? We both get this. This is like a living document of our campaign, which is awesome. Lee's putting this together, and it's great. But when we open it, sometimes there's like blank pages, and there's there's a lot of formatting issues with it.
She wanted a specimen of a wolf so that she could work on it because she wants to try to blend flesh and metal together
and make a coat.
And make a really cool coat. But she wakes up, and the first thing she says is like, "Hey, did you get any samples?" And her other tech priest dominus is Seamus O'Cade. He's a little Irish. Anyway, he captured some dead. He killed a wolf priest. Like, he actually kind of became a boss after she died, and he basically just kind of led, and I won the game. It was a very close game, but we won it. And so I collected the Contemptor, and I said she's basically going to start working on... So they managed to save the sarcophagus and have the guy in a coma, and so she's going to start experimenting on this wolf to kind of... Yeah, and so... I bought a model that's not GW, that's like a wolfy type steampunk that's going to be, I'm going to use it to kind of make a Mauler fiend out of it that's going to be wolfy. Nice. And so she's going to kind of turn dark, basically, dark Mechanicum. That's awesome. And she's going to create like the first like Mauler fiend. And so that's what she's going to work on. I'm spoiling it now.
Well, I mean, like I said last time that my Legion is going to come back and kill my own guys. But what's cool about this is actually... When we're done this campaign, you more than me, because you play at Mech and 40k too, are going to have some fodder to actually use for your own 40k army, your narrative going forward, right?
True.
Or your Chaos guys.
True.
You could tie in your own narrative and work back to your heresy story, so that's pretty awesome.
I love doing that stuff because I really invest in my armies and I care about, like, I name characters and I have, characters that I use each game that I am, are important to me.
That's awesome. I pumped out... maybe about a page and a half of my my fluff for that too. I forgot to mention hobby of what had happened beforehand, and I don't know if I don't think Lee picked up on this, but as I named the characters that I'd either use in the army or would plan on using, or that I were just in the fleet, all of their names are translations of poisonous or toxic into other languages that used. They weren't like in Arabic. Some of them are Latin. Some I think one's like Armenian. One is a South American language. I think one's from Northern Europe, and they were just kind of translations, and so
yeah, it's cool.
Little things like that.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I think it makes a cool narrative. I want to try to share it on my Wargamer page too. Just do a little bit more about that.
Oh, we should mention too that we're working on the site. So the site is now updated as far as the shows that are up. Thank you, Robert, who did give me the permission to go on and work on the site. So we're going to be redoing that. Right now there's a post where you can find Wargamer Sean's YouTube channel, and so you can see what the guy looks like. Brace yourself.
They might not want to listen to
Face for radio there.
Yeah.
So we have it there, but then once we have updated the site, which will take a few weeks, we'll have more of the resources on there, and we'll have more clears like click-through buttons. We're going to work on that a little bit. I also should, I just mentioned real quick, I posted something on the Facebook page. I was waiting until Robert felt comfortable saying something, but he did this past week on his Facebook page, and he just mentioned that he's officially retiring from podcasting. Probably should open with this, but I forgot about it. And he's going to be working on the writing like he's supposed to be doing, like you've listened to him for the past 5 years. So we wish him well. Dave Taylor as well does amazing work, and I think he's over in the UK right now for Salute, or he's over for something. But hopefully he comes back soon, and we do hope to have Dave back on the show, joining us from time to time, talking about whatever that he wants that is GW based. But he's got some awesome charity, some armies painted up for Dave Taylor Miniatures, so I want to throw his resource out there too. I believe I mentioned it in the last time, but I'll put it in the show notes again. So you can go and take a look at the armies he's worked on and the ones that he has up for as his contribution, as well as other people's for the charity auction. So always good causes. Nova's charity, but there's other ones as well, so great stuff for that. right, so we jump into Custodes.
Yeah,
I have a thing of notes, but so instead of going before we get to the fluff and everything, let's jump into the play, right? So let's talk about some of the things that we looked at because I'll be honest, with both these books, we jumped in and I went right to the rules, like the second half of the book, basically, and then I went back and I read the fluff and stuff. So I read it kind of out of order. But let's talk about play. So why don't you lead us off here with it? So we don't need to read all the rules out and everything.
Well, I mean, I guess I think
first impressions.
Well, I'm excited about it, and I think it's going to be a very elite army. You're going to have few models, and you're going to have to deal with that, especially with Maelstrom objectives. Now, I think most of the people, let's just face it, if they want to play competitively, they're going to probably use Imperial Soup, so they might have one detachment or a few things that are Custodes. It actually behooves them to make a detachment out of them, because if you have a detachment that is just Custodes, they all have a standard 5-up invulnerable save. They can have a 3-up with a shield, but if you're all detachment that is Custodes, you actually get +1 to your invul save. So it behooves you to do that, and I think most people will.
One thing that's nice about the book, too, is they recognize it's going to be low model count, and in the hobby section, well, they explain in the lore also, they address it. They don't make it sound like there's millions of them. There are the 10,000. They do show you in the hobby section first with basically, I think, like a 1 box and then the Contemptor. So there's the Talons of the Emperor box that came out, and then there's, which I know people said they can't get, but it's coming back out. It is
temporarily gone. I just checked on it today.
It'll be back out soon.
But actually, that being said, they did say on their site, because I actually looked at it today, it's coming back, but it is a limited time. They're not going to keep it that much longer. My guess is they're going to do Sisters too, and they're going to separate everything.
Yeah. So then they pulled some of those things from Burning of Prospero and Imperial Calth, have their own units. So you can go get individually a Contemptor, a Dreadnought, a plastic one, and a Land Raider on your own, or you can pull them over. But yeah, so that they show a small one, and then they show it progressing as your collection gets larger, larger being like 1920 models. But they do address that in the book, so that's kind of neat. I think that they recognize that right away, and they kind of built a book around that.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of need to. They're pretty powerful, and I think if they were too cheap, it wouldn't be very good for the hobby, for the game, because that army would be too good.
The models, though,
the models are amazing.
So cool.
I mean, I've been collecting them since they came out, and I've played Custodes in 30k, so I haven't in 40k yet. I know some people that have, but because they didn't have an HQ, I'm kind of a purist, and I like playing pure.
Oh, we should throw out right now a disclaimer, too. There are no Forge World data sheets in here. So Forge World, whatever they're going to do, we don't know what it is, but this Codex does not contain the Forge World stuff.
Yeah, my guess is they're going to update that, but they do also have a thing that they can, with any psychic phase, if they take more wounds on a 6, they ignore it. So it's kind of their way of defending themselves to psychics, because there's no psychers in their group, so...
It's a fluff, right? I mean, yeah, it's just kind of a neat rule. Like, if you get... so, more than just as Smite now, you'll hear with the Thousand Suns, there's more powers. Demons have powers, too. So, if you take a mortal wound, they have a 6-up, I guess Feel No Pain is kind of the term we're using. Or Ignore, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. There's some new models, and obviously the jet bikes that people have heard about, and... There's HQs. There's not just Captain General Trajan Valoris, but there's also a Shield Captain, which you can have him as a Shield Captain as an individual, or you can have him in the Terminator armor, or you can have him on the jet bike.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, each of the kit allows you to make... And I put together the bikes, so there's one that has... I mean, of course, we have helmeted, but they had the one unhelmeted option if you want to have that be your captain. So that's kind of neat that each of the 3 kits gives you an option to build... a Shield Captain out of it.
No, I'm excited. I mean, I think that it's good. As far as talking about things, like I said, the Shield Captain, Valoris, I think that most people are probably going to end up building Shield Captains that are either on the Dawn Eagle jet bike, just because if you're point crunching, you can get a Shield Captain who's got more wounds. He's got 7 wounds on the bike, and he comes with a weapon that's free instead of having to pay for the weapon. That makes him cheaper. So I think a lot of people are... And he's so maneuverable, too, because he goes 14 inches. I think if you're running a pure Custodes army, you're going to have one that's on foot or a Terminator so that he can kind of go along with them, and then you're going to have the jet bike one. But I think if you're just running a squad or so, or a detachment, I think you're going to mainly see the shield captain on the bikes, just because he's really good.
Yeah, and in the bikes too, one thing I forgot to mention is they come with 2 options for stand. So you either get the oval with the peg going up, or you can get the clear flight base stand as well. So there's 2 options in the box.
Which is cool. They also, speaking of 2 options, the bikes have 2 options. They can have hurricane bolters, which is amazing. So the rapid fire 6. So if you're close, you're firing 12 shots. Or I actually personally like the salvo launcher. It's got a 24-inch range. It's heavy 1, strength 8, -4 AP, D6. That is awesome, and you can reroll failed wound rolls on vehicles. So it's just a vehicle, which custodians need because they don't have a lot of things that are. They're most of their strength 4, so it's a way to take out vehicles. And then also the flak burst missile that helps you with flyers. Strength 7 -1 D3 damage. You get +1 to hit with fly, so basically you're hitting 1 better. And on the shield captain, he's hitting on 2s anyway, so now you're still hitting on 2s for flyers and hitting on 3s with the heavy weapon. I mean, I think that's pretty good.
I built a box with those. That's what I used instead of the hurricane bolters, and you can get hurricane bolters on your Land Raider if you want. So
yeah. I mean, you could do a Land Raider too, although the Land Raider is. I think the Land Raider is a good model, but it's pricey, and you already got a pricey army, so I don't know how many Land Raiders you're going to see with Custodes. Maybe the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought's not bad price for the extra that he has, because he's better than a regular.
Yeah, and then again, a lot of these are toolboxes, right? So you have 27 stratagems in the books.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So when we get to that,
my God, well, that's what makes some of these so very good. I mean, what makes this army help? It helps the army is the stratagem points, because the stratagems really help. I think.
I mean, like this far into the book, we can already see okay, the army's super tough. Everything's going to be toughness 5 or more. It's going to have several wounds. It's going to have 2-ups with an invul of at least 4. So a lot of times 3, or if you have an option, if they get a storm shield. Now you can also mix your squads up, right? You don't have to arm everybody the same way. So you can have some with there's I think it's a Castellan axe or the Guardian Spear that we're used to. So you can mix things up. But when you start thinking about how you're going to do that, it's a very survivable army. But one of the things we talked about right away, before we recorded, just get me a null zone or a death hex or something like that. That takes away their.
I mean, there are things you can do
closer, but even then, still they have a 2-up.
They do. And what's cool is compared to 30k and 40k, I think they might have come standard with it, or it didn't really do anything. Now, forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, but I think it's Misericordia.
So Misericordia is their...
Is that how they say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how they say it in the audiobooks.
Misericordia. Anyway, that's a big part of the fluff, and they all have them, and it's cool because now they get to make 1 additional attack with this weapon, unless they have a storm shield equipped, because they can't do both hands. But it's kind of cool. It's like an extra little jab. So they all have, the least attacks they have is 3. So now they have 4 with that. That's pretty awesome. I'm excited. You can probably tell I'm excited about this. But
it's cool. Like you mentioned the fluff. That's like their badge of office, right? That gives them the right to dispense the Emperor's justice. So where an Inquisitor might hold up a rosette,
it's my badge.
You might slice that Inquisitor's hand off with your Misericordia. I think it even comes up. There's a spot in the Master of Mankind by Aaron Dembski-Bowden where the Misericordia comes out.
It does.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right, sorry, continue.
Yeah, I'm excited. The other thing that I'm excited about, they changed with the squads now, is that the Vexillus Praetor, so the guy that basically kind of has the
Vexilla?
I guess the Vexilla, yeah. The standard.
Mm-hmm.
He's separate now, so you can't have him with a squad anymore. He's not he's a separate unit, but it's cool because you can kind of choose how you upgrade him, and you can have him affect other Imperial units, or you can have him do things where he benefits the other Custodes in the area.
Yeah, so whatever you have to buy the Vexilla.
Yep.
But
there's 3 different Vexillas.
So there's 20. It's 20, 30, and 50 points. But each one comes with 2 things. So you automatically get the first one. What is it? The from Golden Light. Oh no, I'm sorry.
From Golden Light that's one.
This one here, Vexilla, where you can reroll a failed morale test for friendly Imperium infantry and biker units within 6 inches.
Yep.
And then you get one of the 3 options.
Yeah, so the options are that if you do one, it adds 1 attack to any custodians within 6 inches, which is good. The other one is Imperial Infantry gain a 5-up invulnerable save while they're wholly within 9 inches of a friendly Vexilla. So if you can't do a big ass unit, which is nice. So you're not going to have like these big units of IG, conscripts out there and go, oh, I get a 5-up invul, and that doesn't work that way anymore. And then Vexilla Magnifica, your opponent must subtract 1 from hit rolls in the shooting phase for targeting Adeptus Custodes within 6 inches of the Vexilla's Praetor with this Vexilla. That's cool, too. Kind of helps with hitting. So if you want to kind of stand back on an objective or you got a fire base and you want to protect them, that's a good way to do it. So...
Yeah, and just so to restate, you do have to pay for the different Vexillas, but so it's 20, 30, and 50. So just budget that when you're doing that. But yeah, it's not bad.
And then the Vexilla you can get is either a regular Custodes armor, or you can get them in the Alaris Terminator armor. So you could have it either way. So that's another thing that with the kits you can build out of, which is nice. The kit allows you. I know the Terminator one comes with a Vexilla, and you can build the captain with it too, the shield captain.
Yeah, talking about the ones from from Prospero, Burning Prospero box, and the ones that they have separate.
Well, they have the thing you can build the Vexillas with the Prospero box, but I'm talking about the new Terminators that are coming out. You can build a shield captain or a Vexilla with them.
Because you got your so you got your basic custodians, so you got your wardens, your Alaris, and then your the Praetors on the jet bikes or the Dawn Eagle bikes. Which, by the way, we've been looking at them for conversions. And I think so. White Scar players and Dark Angel players, or other legions as well, or chapters. We've been looking at them, but I'm thinking about. So I'm going to do Dark Angels when the Book of Angels comes out for 30k.
He says "we," by the way. I still haven't seen these models, so
I meant to bring them with me. But I'm sorry.
I've seen the box of them.
You have seen the box, yeah. Not much in the but I guess we can kind of hit the
the Contemptor Dreadnought is a little different because it's got the 5-up shielding, but each time this model takes a wound on 6-up, it's ignored. And it's basically starts with a weapon skill, ballistic skill 2, and then goes down to 4 over time. Which I think the regular ones are 2-up too with the Contemptors, so I guess that didn't change. But then you got your jet bikes, which are fast attack, which are just freaking awesome. I mean, you're going to see so many big. Well,
you will see a lot of.
You're going to see a lot of these. One, because I think people are going to take the shield captain on a bike and then run a squad of this, just to help their army. But 2, the damn models are so freaking cool. They're just cool. They're amazing. I don't know what else to say about it. The Venerable Land Raider, basically, not really much has changed about it. It ignores a wound on a 6-up. It's got the Machine Spirit. So basically just like any other Land Raider, except I don't think anything else has the Unyielding Agent. I think the regular Space
I don't think so, no, yeah. And I think there's a stratagem. There's 1 or 2 stratagems that tie in with that as well.
Right.
You can use that for that.
So you want to do Warlord traits quick, and then we can do because there's a ton.
Yeah, we're not going to read every stratagem, but we're going to pick out a few favorites, and then we'll close out after we do all that with some lore, because I made some notes that was kind of fun.
So the Warlord traits are 6 of them, and they're good. The Captain General Trajan Valoris comes with Champion of the Imperium, and that is basically friendly units that are within 12 inches of the Warlord start of your opponent's charge phase can make heroic interventions in the same manner as characters.
That's neat, right?
It's neat. It's okay. I don't think it's great.
Well, I mean, fluff-wise, I agree. Mechanic-wise, made it the best, but because you have Custodians are single warriors, they don't fight like a legion, like a brotherhood. So I feel like they kind of capture that as well in the fluff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if we mentioned it. I love the way that they teleport in. So everyone has their own name for the teleportarian, but theirs is the God Strike, which I love that name.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. The other ones, we don't have to go through all of them, but there's some things that kind of help protect them. There's one that helps with doing a Deny the Witch test. So basically, things to kind of protect your Warlord.
Which one do you like? I don't know if I like the Radiant Mantle, -1 to hit rolls against your Warlord. I'm not sure if that's the one I like, or if it is... No, that is the one I like, I think, the most.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have to say I like the Superior Creation, where the 5-up you don't lose the wound, so kind of like a 5-up feel no pain. But I do like the -1 to hit. The Radiant Mantle is very good. I do see an argument for impregnable mind. So basically, if you're running all Custodes, you might want that to have a deny the witch roll. I kind of like that, and you get to add 1 to the deny the witch test. So it's kind of like you got a psyker. So that one I could actually see arguing for.
Yeah, and if you do lose your warlord, they have a sort of I am Alfarius type trait, a stratagem where you can have another Custodes pop up and be like, I'm your warlord now, which of course means then that the Slay the Warlord doesn't count as long as you have a warlord still on the table.
Right. Yeah.
Let's do these.
Do you want to do the relics quick? Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of relics.
They're all really good.
They are.
There's a bike one.
There's a bike one that you get a 3-up invulnerable save, and you can reroll failed charge rolls for this model. I mean, that, like, I could see taking with a shield captain on a bike because, damn.
Yeah. I mean, well, the ones I've seen, because stuff always gets leaked and people. Actually, the videos, some of the reviews on the videos, they went through and they showed a lot of the different pages. But I've heard people talking about the three, the invul ones for the bike. So that one, Praetorian Plate, the Faith Absolute as well. So I mean, those are ones I've kind of seen everywhere. Raiment of Sorrows, I think, has its use here. So this is a D6 every time a friendly Custodes infantry model or a biker is destroyed. Within 6 inches of the bearer. On a 4, you get to do one last attack, basically, a shoot or attack, depending what phase it is.
Yeah, kind of like the Ancient.
Like the Primaris Ancient can do, yeah. And then you cannot use the even in death stratagem. Yeah, so you can't double do.
Right, which makes sense. I like which is the one.
Everything just makes them so much more survivable.
We don't have to read all of it. These relics are good, and there's 2 pages of relics for not a very big army. It's pretty amazing. There's a lot of them. I don't want to necessarily.
No, it's okay. Let's go through stratagems, then we'll close out with some lore.
Yeah, I guess
because the Codex is very well written. So after we do stratagems, I just want to talk about like the actual the lore in the beginning and the timelines and everything, because like there's so much. There's so many little lines in there. Like, we get Beast Arises came from like 2 sentences in a codex, and there's so many little things in there that let us know about the narrative continuing about 40k.
Yeah.
And then also as far as inspiration, 30k inspiration about what your arm. I mean, there's the different shield orders. So I mean, there's a lot in there. So we do want to hit that, but stratagems, I think we're going to spend a lot. Which we're not going to read all 27.
No, but there's some really cool ones I really like. One I really like that I think people are going to use a lot, at least I thought about right away, is, you're not going to have a lot of squads, but there's a stratagem in here that lets you split up your squad in
lions?
Individual units. And
I think it's on the first page.
Is that the first page?
I think it's the lions. Unleash the lions, this one.
Yeah, so that unit is immediately split into separate units, each containing a single model. That is really awesome. So you got like a squad of 3 guys, right? And you need to cover more areas. Okay, you're all 3 squads now. That's amazing, like that, and it's 2 command points, but so worth it. I think. I mean, I think that's amazing command stratagem.
It is. No, I think that's really good. It's one of the ones they highlighted. So there's some of the ones that a lot of armies get. I mean, like we were talking about OBSEC already, but like there's the the one where you get the option to get an extra relic. A lot of armies have that.
Yeah, I think everybody pretty much gets that
from the
one.
Golden Light. It's just like you have 1 command point for 1, or is it 3 command points for a second unit of teleporting and or deep striking and.
But the cool thing about that is it's not usually it's just infantry. This one is infantry, bikers, and dreadnoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right. So
that's pretty amazing.
So you could just pop out on top of you and be like, "Hello."
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good actually. I like that one. It's a little different from the other people.
The teleporting Homer. I mean, I feel like that's fine. You can. I feel like the stratagems, though. I mean, again, like this is such a great example of capturing the fluff of the army, and I'm sorry, I know it's a dirty word. The feel and the style of the army, and I really feel like this army is going to play, and you have so many options to make it play like the way you think it should operate.
I think GW, I really think they're doing a good job with their new codexes, but I really think that, like, especially some of these last ones, this codex really, these stratagems really embrace what the Custodes are. I just think it plays to them so nicely.
Yeah, he said it better than I did.
I'm amazed by them. I'm in love with them.
We can hit a few more of these here.
Oh my god.
Shoulder the Mantles, that's the one where you have the new general pop up.
Yep. It's only one command point. There's one, a burst missile net that you can re-roll failed to wounds for anything that can fly. Now, it doesn't have to be a flyer, it's just fly.
Oh, so concussion grenades is kind of nice as you're charging, and some armies have something like that. Eyes of the Emperor, so again, this ties with the fluff. That's a dirty word. With the lore at the beginning, this is one point here where you can generate a tactical objective card, and you can get a new one. So sometimes in Maelstrom games, it'll cost you, I think sometimes 2 command points or even 3, depending what the mission is, to grab a new one. This one is for 1 point, so I think that's going to be a very powerful one in games.
For Maelstrom games. Yeah,
very much.
I'm also glad when I was reading that one a few days ago, and I'm glad that they addressed that, because not everybody's playing competitive games, and it's a nice way to... I love Maelstrom. Maelstrom's one of my favorites. I was so excited when they introduced it last edition, and I still like Maelstrom.
It's my favorite way to play. So.
And the new update for 2017,
and the chapter
proof, they have some really cool Maelstroms in there. Like, if you don't get them that turn, you have to discard them and get new ones. I mean, that's awesome.
So they have one about the Blood Games, Victor of the Blood Games, which again goes with the lore. Even in death. So there's one that's situational, like this one's with the Hugo gets Heretic Astartes, Bringers of the Emperor Justice, and then there's a separate one for the Black Legion.
Yep.
That's each time you roll a 6 to fight in the fight phase, you can make another attack against it. 3 points. This is one of the ones they previewed when I think the first the coverage went out weekly on Warhammer Community, but Stooping Dive. Like we talked about bikes. So this one I think is 3 command points, but I think this one is really, really good.
Yeah, you basically are able to you can basically declare a charge, and as if it was your charge phase, and if it's successful, they fight first, basically. And so it's at the end of your opponent's charge phase. So you're doing 12 inches somebody, you're like, okay, I'm using this, and I'm charging you, nanner. Like, I mean, it's worth it, though. It's 3 command points, but, man, it's strong. Yeah.
They have another one for Spark of Divinity for denying if you don't have Psychers. And Plant the Vexilla, too. With
that one's good.
Yeah, the Vexilla is you're going to at least have one in your army.
Oh, yeah. If you're playing Custodes.
So, yeah, increasing it by 6 inches. Yep. Wow.
Yeah, that could be a really big thing. Especially depending on what you chose for your Vexilla.
What's cool about these is, I like the options, right? Because you're not thinking like in previous editions where you're just sitting back on the table edge and waiting. Okay, depending on what my game is and then what the deployment setup's going to be, I may need this later on to get in close, and I may need this bubble of buff, a defense.
Right.
So, I mean, the 8th edition allows, just like AOS, allows much more, and I know this is debatable, but I think this is my opinion, much more better opportunity for generalship and to really kind of show your quality as a general as you go through the game and plan about reserving some things, but also going for those really cool cinematic moments if you need to kind of go big or go home.
Yeah, there's Indomitable Guardians. If you have a squad of Custodians that are within 3 inches of an objective, in your opponent's fight phase, you can use one command point and go, oh, you know what? I'm going to fight first. I charge, basically.
Yeah, that's another.
And that's really good for one command point, Yeah. There's a lot of really good ones in here. I mean, you don't have time to go through them all, but they're really good. This Codex is solid, and I think they did a very good job with it. And I'm excited to have Custodes as a full army, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really neat. I want to hit a few things about the lore before we go through. So I just made some notes.
You made some notes. I'm going to say one thing about the lore first, and this has to do because I love Thousand Suns. It does actually mention in this text that Horus basically kind of was it redirected or kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? And basically got.
It confirms in there that Horus had intervened, or is that in the Thousand Sun one?
No, it's in this one too. It's in both. I read both of them.
It's like it's kind of assumed, kind of like Lehman Russ and the Beard. But I remember I wrote you about this because I was on an Age of Darkness last year about we were kind of figuring out doing the whole Prospero thing over a couple months, like. Where does it really say that Horus actually interfered and changed the orders from go apprehend him to execute him essentially?
Right.
And that's in here too. So I think that was that's a neat little piece.
Yeah, it's another thing that's like that they've spelled out, and it's really cool. And they, Horus obviously was smart. He knew that Magnus was catching on to what he was doing, and he wanted to either get him out of the way and get the wolves out of the way. And by having him execute, he knew that there was going to be big losses on both sides. So he knew, he was smart. And the Custodes, it actually says in this book, in the Custodes book, it doesn't say in the Thousand Suns book. It says that the only reason that they went along with it is that the main guy, who is the Valdor at the time, basically said he saw the mutations and he's like, yeah, we just got to kill them. They're just too too far gone to save. And he basically agreed with Russ, and he was friends with Russ. He looked up, he basically was comrades with him, and he basically disobeyed the Emperor and tried to kill everybody.
Yeah, there's awesome opportunities in here. It's like the different shield companies are broke down, and they also,
what they do.
Yeah, what they do and what their paying schemes are. So instead of just having everything be gold, you have some options with some other regal colors. But the Shadow Keepers, I think, is probably the one. I think there's two that really stood out to me. And the Shadow Keepers, they guard what's really like low beneath the vaults of Terra, what's down there. And in the timeline, sometimes they pop out where they have to go handle something because it's almost kind of like an Inquisition itself, right? The things that people aren't supposed to know about.
Escaped or something.
Yeah, it's like as you read through the time, sometimes usually I do not like timelines. There's usually 4 to 6 pages of a timeline, and I have to slog through reading them. And,
see, I always read them.
Well, I mean, I read them, but sometimes it can really be like a bore. But these two, this and the Thousand Suns, was very different. These were enjoyable, and there are so many nuggets in here for the story to advance or you to write for your own personal campaign.
Nuggets not like Uranus.
I mean, it tells you why there's so many shield captains. The potential for I'm reading a lot of these there's Black Library stories in here. Like you have your color stories. They explain why. Okay, so Shadow Keepers, the other one I really like are the messengers. The emissaries Imperiatus, who basically go and say this is the Emperor's will, and they work in here. That these are the ones that were sent out to the different chapters, and this is like the ones that we were thinking why would they accept Primaris Marines into them, because these were sent, and it was more kind of like, hey, you're going to accept these, and they're like, well, we don't really know, but they're like, no, you're going to accept these. And I'm like, okay. Yeah.
So I still don't see the wolves going, you know what, fuck you.
They're probably like, here, have a beer, and they're like, all right, if you can outdrink me, then we'll take them.
That's probably it.
But just little lines in here, like the deterioration of the Golden Throne is just kind of thrown in here, and like the actual mechanics of it. The first time the demons invade Khorne, the demons of Khorne invade on here. By the way, there's some cool pictures in here too, using some of the same kits and how they maneuver some of the different Sector Imperialis kits and make the Imperial Palace and different structures on Terra, like in the actual art there, which is kind of neat. Yeah.
Basically, also when they
what's in the cell? The Shadow Keeper. What's in the cell? What's in the cell?
When they do retire, basically, when they feel sometimes it says they might only be slower by 1/10 of a second, but that's too slow for them, and so they go off, and it's cool. They give up their war gear, but they go off and they still kind of report to the Imperium and to the Captain General, basically, and go and infiltrate other areas and still serve the Emperor even though they've retired. And some of them just disappear, like Valoris disappeared, and
well, I mean, he's the guy now, but yeah,
Valdor.
Yeah, one thing is we don't know what Valdor's fate is. They mentioned Cypher's disappearance, which was in the Rise of the Primarch at the very end of the Gathering Storm. So I think that was kind of neat. Just a few other things I wrote down here too is there is one thing in the timeline where there's the Dark Galdar send in the blade of, I can't remember what the third word is, but to assassinate the Emperor, and you're kind of like, I wonder who that is. They never figure out who funded that operation. They talk about the effect of a shield captain. So when you read the different unit descriptions, under shield captain, the effect that he has on normal humans, and it says, because one of the things I was neat about the Heresy book, especially in the beginning with the Remembrancers, is you would see how humans react to Astartes, but how they react to a Primarch.
Yeah.
And I thought this was kind of cool, where it says they have a euphoric effect on the humans, basically people out, the basic Imperium, and they get the sense that the Emperor is watching over them in a good way. So that's kind of neat, a little bit of Santa Claus in gold armor. Always nice. But yeah, it just kind of fits. They are basically I say brotherhood. The 10,000 based on honesty. They're very pragmatic, and it's a meritocracy, and that's repeated throughout the book. And there's no politics or ego. If somebody because they discuss who's going to be in charge, And that's how they figure it out. And they don't have infighting and things like that, which I think is
well, and they also, but in order to be custodes, they go through a rigorous training, and not just fighting, but like education, and they basically know all the ins and out of the empire more so than even anybody else does, because they have to, because it says they're the agents of the emperor, so they have to know everything, even the dirty laundry, you know, they say they know. And it does say where they come from. The lords of Terra give up their babies, sometimes like multiple generations, and they're proud because they get to become custodians. And a lot of them, you know, 1 in 100 or 1,000 of Astartes don't survive the process, but it said it's even less of them do for the custodes. And they rename them because they want every lord to be proud that their kid's there, but a lot of them don't make it, so it's like they don't want them to know, okay, your kid died, sorry. But it's really cool. I mean, it's cool. It's very like regal and royal, where all these guys, and we never knew where the custodians come from, like where do they recruit from, I don't know, and it actually explained that in here, which was really cool because it never really had before. This book was it's
a lot packed in here, you know, and they're still, of course, really arrogant. This last thing I wrote down, I thought was cool when you read about the Vexil is like visually inspire the other members of the Imperium in your Imperium suit, but it also said that the thing transmits data to the other like command, so the Custodes, but maybe if you have Astra Militarum or Adeptus Astartes or whatever kind of, you know, allied in with this force, it transmits data to them really quickly, like for strategic purposes too. So I just thought that was kind of neat. Like it's pretty, but it also does something at incredible speed, and it allows the battle to continue. So the rules writers and the background team that like together for these books, I mean, they just, in 8th edition, they've been fantastic.
Oh my god, those codexes are fantastic, but I have to say that Astartes was so great. But I think partly too because we didn't have anything before, and now it's like, oh my god, like you're giving us this stuff, and it's amazing. Like,
so Boku nuggets for your inspiration for your army and campaign games and narrative games you want to play, and Black Library books, and you know what's still to come. So I think so. We haven't figured out our grading system yet, but I thought this was a really fucking good book.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Guardian Spears or whatever, or Red Plumes.
Guardian Spears?
I don't know.
Was that Eldar Guardian? No. No, I think it's really good. I'll give it. I'll do Eldar. I'll give it a 5 out of 5 Soul Stones.
5 out of 5 Eldar corpses. Very good.
Eldar spirits.
Awesome.
I'm sure they're fine with it.
So we hope you enjoyed this, and the next show we have coming out in a couple days is going to be on 1,000 Suns. We're not going to have our intro section in that because we're recording this at the same time. So if you're listening to this Wednesday night or Thursday, then we'll see you in 48 hours or less for the 1,000 Suns.
Dream about us.
No, I would.
Do it.
I would dream about us.
Yeah.
So I can't even say we'll see you next week. We'll see you in a couple days.
Yes. Take care. Thanks for listening.
All right. Potty break.
All right. Welcome to Combat Phase. This is Wargamer Sean.
There was a lot of enthusiasm in that one.
Okay,
let's do it again.
Wow. This is a critic. All right. That's a nice one. You shouldn't cut that out. That's a good one. It's a rumble in the tummy. All right. Welcome to Combat Phase. I'm Wargamer Sean. I gotta do that again because that sounds terrible. You know, I had a radio person that told me that I should smile when I was recording stuff for the radio, that I should smile when I talk because it makes a difference when you record, even though you don't see yourself. So I gotta smile.
It does. Well, it comes through. Like, and if you start to get dry mouth, your voice will sound kind of like wet and soppy. So that's why we have these.
My voice always sounds like wet and soppy. All right.
If I can hear you, if it sounds like you're wringing a sponge over the mic, then that's bad.
All right.
Here we go again.
Okay.
Goodbye, you sexy motherfucker.